Hi there, this is Saeed with The Bloom Show, brought to you by New Bloom Solutions and Above All Flowers. Today is a last-minute update, a last-minute special edition, latest news, The Bloom Show, where we're bringing on Eduardo Letort, CEO of Hoja Verde, and also the president of Association of Floriculture, Floriculture in Cayambe. And thank you to Eduardo, truly thank you to Eduardo, as he's had many interviews. This has been a hot topic this week, and he's had many interviews to cover. So we scheduled, and so it's the life of live. So sorry about the back and forth at 9 o'clock, 10 a.m. and 10:15, but we're just trying to accommodate everybody involved, and there was a little bit of a time zone mistake, and that was on my end. But again, that's the life of doing lives. But thank you to Eduardo for joining and accommodating. Today we're going to be talking about the situations that are happening in Ecuador, how it's affecting the floriculture, the floral industry, the flower industry, and also what the long-term effects are going to be. And please feel free to ask any questions, chime in, ask questions, comment. It's very important for you, for everybody to participate. Again, just help me. We'll move this one pretty fast because I don't want to take too much time from Eduardo. So we'll move this one pretty quickly. So I'm going to just have him on board. So help me welcome Eduardo. Thank you very much. Hello, Eduardo.
Hello, Sahid. How are you?
How are you? Very well. Thank you again for doing this last minute. We spoke yesterday at 7 p.m. and not even 24 hours later, we're on the show together. So thank you so much for joining and for giving of your time. Truly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So Eduardo, give us a little information on you, a little bit of a background on you. I know you are CEO of Hoja Verde and president of Association of Floriculture. What is Floriculture, if we could know that a little bit, and a little background about you?
Yeah, I started in the flower business, in the rose business, mainly in '97 with Hoja Verde, and our farms are located in Cayambe, in the valley of Cayambe. Most of the people that are in the world of flowers know where Cayambe is. And at the moment, I'm president of the Cayambe of Producers Association. The Expo Flores, which is the main association, has like its ramifications in the south of Ecuador, in the north, in Cayambe. So I'm part of one of those branches that branches out of Expo Flores.
Okay, great. So you're covering the industry, understanding the pain points, understanding all situations throughout the industry.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you again for being here. So tell us a little bit about what's happening there with the protests, maybe a little background with the government, and then how is it affecting our the industry at the moment?
We see the riots that are happening these days as a political confrontation between a social movement that has become with time into a political movement, more into the left side. And we have elections early next year. So this what we call warming up the streets. They are creating momentum. They are creating riots. So they will get more notice, and maybe they will get a better acceptance at the polls next year against the government. Because what is happening in the world, the food, the products, fertilizers are going up because of the war, logistic problems we had after COVID. So they use those issues of rising costs for their own consumption. So they say, well, this government, the cost of food has risen, the cost of petrol has risen, the cost of gas is rising. So the government is doing bad. So they're using that for their own political benefits. That's what's happening.
That's the same issue that happened, correct me if I'm wrong, 2019?
Exactly. Well, in that moment, it was a little bit different because the other government raises the prices of petrol from $1 to $2-3. So it was a dramatic rise. So that was too much. But in this case, I don't see a trigger like was in 2019 but it's the cost of living that is going up, and they get it against the government. I don't say that the government is doing very well. I think they don't know how to communicate. They have done a lot of mistakes. I think the general account of Ecuador, the macroeconomics is better, but people don't see macroeconomics. You need to scale down into development, into roads. The people need to see what is going on with if the economy is improving.
And how have these protests affected the country in all? What happens? What are they doing? Or what are they blocking? And in the country, and we'll talk about the country, and then we'll go to the flower industry. But how is it affecting the country of Ecuador?
The protests are located mainly in the highlands.
Okay.
Ecuador, as you know, has the coast, the highlands, and the Amazonas jungle, and what we call the east of Ecuador. The protests are mainly in the central and north provinces of the highlands. By the coast, there's not much going on. It's almost normal. But in the south, where are the main production areas of flowers, in the south, Cotopaxi and Pichincha, and the north of Pichincha, that's where the most violent riots are happening. In Quito, there's little going on in Quito. The government has not confronted the riots. I mean, police are just taking care of that it doesn't get out of hand. The army is not being used at the moment, only to protect some petroleum wells by the jungle, but it's not using the force. So there's no confrontation at the moment with police or army.
There is a state of emergency at the moment, correct? Or was it considered?
No, yet. The state of emergency was declared for the provinces of Guayas and Esmeraldas because there was a lot of crimes going on in the last months. We have in the last year, 2 years with the government that we had about 4 years ago, narcos are getting into the Ecuadorian system because we have dollar. And Ecuador is being used as a logistics center for the distribution of drugs. So there was a lot of violence between, between different narco groups. So they declare emergency on those provinces. But at the moment, the highland has not been declared an emergency yet.
And how did this affect the flower industry in 2019? Just as a reflection, how did it affect the flower industry in 2019, if you recall?
2019, we had like 12 days in riots. There was a lot of money lost as Ecuador produces about, exports about $2 million a day of flowers. And we lost 12 days. Through some secondary roads, we were able to pass, giving money, food to the rioters. Some trucks were able to go through. But we lost a good amount. At the moment, we have 4 days. We have been able to ship maybe 50% of our flowers. And today is another day. Each day is a battle to see how is a logistic battle to see how we get the flowers into to the airport.
And we've heard that there's little pockets that they're able to sit through, but then in some cases, some pockets aren't because the roadblocks are right in front of location. How is your location doing, and how are the areas around you doing?
One farm is located in an island blocked completely. I mean, they have cut trees in our roads from all sides, so it's impossible to move. We are moving the boxes hand by hand and going through a river to get to the other side, where is the other farm that we can move a little bit easier. Some farms have rented helicopters to get the boxes out of Cayambe.
Wow.
And others have not been able to ship in 2-3 days. We hope that it doesn't get more.
And how is the safety of the workers there getting from their homes to work? How has that been happening? We spoke to a farm today, and they're saying that that's a concern of theirs, is a little bit of the safety of their employees. How's that been? What have you heard there?
So far, Up in the north, we haven't had any issues with the workers. They walk.
Okay.
Most of the workers are in a radio of about 4 kilometers from the farm. So I will say 70-80% of the workers are getting to the farms without any issues, any problems in the north. In the south, about a day ago or 2 days ago, they had some rioters getting into the farms and taking the people out to stop them for working at the farms. No big issues going on yet, but it's of course it's always a concern, no?
So I thank you for answering these questions. I do want to encourage the audience to ask any questions. I know Beth O'Reilly had said hello, Eduardo. So hi Beth. And so if there's any questions, please feel free to ask. Eduardo, is there anything, my question is, I know you can't solve the problem, but what is the solution, or what do you think how it's going to affect the flower industry in the years to come? Because if it happened 2019, now it's happening 2022. How do we see an end to this? Or, it's not your prediction, but maybe your opinion or your point of view.
It's difficult to give a forecast. The flower industry is very resilient, and we go through wind, earthquakes, COVID. I mean, we are in a solid industry. Yeah. I think consumers have noticed that flowers are part of their day-to-day peace of mind product that they need to have at their home. So that's something that gives us a lot of how would I say, confidence in the business. I think it will go through in 2-3 more days, and then we'll continue as usual. The flower business been growing in Ecuador. We have invested in new production, new area, new varieties. Yeah. Diversification is also going through. So we think we are in the right industry. So we don't see much problem in the future.
And what other, because we're just thinking of the flower industry, and pardon my ignorance, but is this affecting other industries as well? Is it just a flower industry attack, or is it affecting other industries?
No, it's affecting the dairy industry. Cayambe is also quite important in dairy. So milk is being thrown to the pastures. Wow. Horticulture also is affected. The little shops, supermarkets are under supplied at the moment. They are almost empty in Cayambe. So, and at this time of the year, Cayambe is very, very known because it starts what we call the Inti Raymi, which is the festivities of the harvest. Yeah. Okay. So there's the next 2-3 weeks they were planned a lot of celebrations, and that's canceled at the moment, and is a loss in tourists also. Tourists are not getting into Cayambe, which is very touristic place. Wow. And that's a pain, because that will not be recovered. That money lost will never be recovered.
Of course not. And then I did hear, and especially after going through COVID, it's been a hard rebound for them. And I did hear that the leader of the indigenous group was arrested for a day or so. How has that affected? Has that added just fire to the fuel, or?
Yes, he was arrested. And he was given charges. He's not under arrest at the moment. He will go to the court the 4th of July. Okay. But he was arrested, and that also put a lot of fuel into the fire. But the government had to arrest him because he's breaking the law, and no one can be above the law. That's the message I think it was given. It was difficult to take that decision, I guess, from the president, but I think it was the right one at the moment.
Yeah, great. So I have a little comment here from George. Great to have an insight of what's happening in Ecuador right now, and thank you for that insight, Eduardo. Truly appreciate it. I hope that this was last minute, so now as I prepped questions, I've been just asking questions on my own curiosity, and also questions that I think will inform. Is there anything else that any other information share with the audience that we would think is pertinent to their business at the moment?
I will ask your viewers, which buy our flowers from Ecuador, to have a little bit of patience these days. Maybe your flowers will be delayed 1 or 2 days, but we are harvesting. We are moving the flowers as much as we can. So have a little bit of patience. Maybe they will have a little bit of quality problems, a little bit more damage because the trucks have to go through secondary roads or wait 3-4 hours in the road until they are able to pass the checkpoint. So have patience, but Ecuadorian flowers are one of the best. So they will resist the long traffic time and still have a beautiful vase life. So please have a little bit of patience, and we'll get the flowers there.
And you're traversing rivers, you said. So what's
Yes.
the process? I'm just curious on that. What are you walking with the boxes on
Yes.
walking with the boxes on your head?
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
So
they walk
wow.
it's not a huge river, it's not the Mississippi, but
you're still getting your feet wet.
Yeah, we walk through and pass the flowers. We have done this a few times, and yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's an issue, no?
But it's a testament to the efforts that companies go through, right, to keep the business going. So we just in everything, sometimes people take things for granted of hocus pocus and it just happens and shows up. But there's so many moving parts in the flower industry. And when you throw a protest like this, you have to adjust. Helicopters crossing rivers. It's pretty mind-blowing to even think of. So thank you again for your time, and thank you for the information and sharing such valuable information to our audience, and truly appreciate the last minute jumping on the show. Truly, thank you.
Thank you for having me, and if you want any other information, I'll be glad to help you.
Great. Maybe we could do an update. Hopefully this will end today. So maybe we don't have to jump on another call, but maybe next week, if it's still happening, we'll jump on another call for an update. And then we're getting a little bit of a chime in here from Carrie Bibb. Thank you for sharing this information and continuing the work to provide us the best flowers. We couldn't do our work without you. And thank you for Sarah. Thank you for the updates, Eduardo. We appreciate all the information and all you and the team are doing. And then we have an international flower buyer. Thanks for all the info. So everybody's very appreciative, as well as we are appreciative for having you on the show today. Thank you very much, Eduardo.
Super. I really appreciate.
Thank you. Thank
for
you
the
very
opportunity.
Much,
have a great day.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity. Bye-bye.
Super. Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, guys. So you saw it. This was last scripted. So sorry about the changes in hours and everything. We were trying to accommodate different schedules. So, but thank you again for joining. Thank you for chiming in. And basically, that's a wrap. Just wanted to give everybody a quick update of what was happening in Ecuador. I hope there was information there enough to allow everybody to know that they're making all the efforts they can. It is affecting logistics. It is going to affect in a little bit, from what Eduardo said, quality as well, but just be patient. Again, feel free to go to the YouTube, copy this link, and share it with your customers, especially if you're having those customers complain and not understand what's happening. Allow them to hear from another person. So feel free to share, do as you will, subscribe, like, comment, and press the little alert key. Thank you again for joining. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.